Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm glad you joined me. Here we are to Fight CPS with Bob Pace. I'm your host. And you just heard from my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. I always thank him for what he does for us in battle against fighting CPS. As you heard, he's been doing this for 35 years, fighting CPS. He is a juvenile family dependency lawyer. He's well schooled and has fought for over 35 years against CPS. Not only has he fought CPS getting your children back when your case is closed, he has also done civil lawsuits, both in federal and state courts, and he has won millions of dollars. So he's the real thing. He works out of Arcadia in California, but he practices, he has cases in LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, and Northern California. He also has a case in Oklahoma, and he'd go anywhere in the United States, so he can practice law anywhere. So he's the real deal. And he is talking about his show upcoming this Saturday. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And I'm on in the morning at 10 o'clock. That is Pacific Standard Time. Then again at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time in the evening. They're 1 hour podcasts. And so that's twice a day, 14 shows a week. You found me on Facebook, Fighting CPS, Bob Pace. And that's what you brought here. There are 8 other rooms that you can find me that will connect you to there. We have a person named Jose Lopez, and he is watching from Santa Fe Springs, California. Welcome, Jose Lopez. I'm so glad that you can join us. Somehow I still have computer glitches. I don't understand why I disappeared off the screen. And one eye looks open, the other eye looks closed. Both my eyes are open, but I don't know. It's just a lag or whatever it is. Anyway, you found me in this room, and these other rooms will send messages that get on top of my people that have typed messages, so sometimes it's hard to read. So you say Jose Jazette. Jose Jazette, I guess is your name. Anyway, welcome. And I'm so glad. And you told me you're from Santa Fe Springs, California. And you can talk about your case. You're more than welcome. There are 4 ways you can interact with this podcast. One is you just in this room here, and you can do emojis and send me stars. And then you can also click the follow and the notification buttons below. Try Joe. Okay. Okay, Josette. Okay. All right, Joe, J.O. I could try again. Uh, welcome there. A second way that you can interact with this podcast is what Joe is doing from Sandy Springs is texting me messages. You can text me messages with a comment or a question about CPS. All I ask you is to show your first name, your city or county your case was in, your state, and yes, I say country because there are right now 16 countries that participate in this podcast, and I'm more than welcome anybody from around the world. This is a worldwide podcast. The newest country was Auckland, New Zealand, and they had a case. They are actually a Maori, which is the All Blacks there in New Zealand, and they had a difficult case there too. So text those messages in there, and then also be complete as you can with your case. It tells me a little bit about you and so forth. A third way is you can be a guest on a podcast. And to be a guest on my podcast, all you have to do is pick a date or time, like a Sunday or a Saturday or a Wednesday, and a time, morning or evening. Now, on Saturday, I come on at 8 o'clock, 2 hours early, so that gives more ample time for people to join Mr. Davis in his question answers podcast. Also, on Sunday, I go to church, so I need a couple hours early, so I come on at 8 o'clock. On Friday, since it's high school, Friday Night Lights, football, there is a playoff game this Friday that I will be attending, and I need to do my show earlier. I try at 3 or 4 o'clock, but I'll let you know later in the week what time it is. So anyway, you text the show to Grace, who is my show producer. She works behind the scenes, and I thank her for her hard work behind the scenes. Now, all you do is pick one of those times, one of those dates, and put an email to grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'll send you back a link to get on SteamYard, which is the application I use. And you have you're on it. And so when you click that link, that is there. Thank you, Ron. I want to help you out, Ron. So whatever your questions are, we have about 10 people in the room. Now, the third way to get on to interact with this room is to call in. You can call in at 626-698-0990. My phone is live. That's my office phone number. It rings my phone. We use Vonage, which is a internet phone application. And you can call me during my show times. If you call me before or after my show times, it won't work. I cannot answer before or after my show times. So that is the 4 ways to interact with this podcast. Now, Joe, you are a first-time grandmother. Well, congratulations, Joe. You're a first-time grandmother. The baby was removed in February, and my daughter was oppositional to me then and killed any chance of participating in visits, etc. Daughter and I are okay now, and the baby lives with the fraternal grandparents. Okay, so something must have happened that your daughter did something wrong, that CPS got involved. They took the child and they put it with your husband's parents. The father's in the military. Okay, I guess, are they married? I hope they are. I wanted visitation so bad. Baby is 10 months old now. Well, CPS is very strange. It sounds like they've set up temporary custody of the father, but if he's the military, who's going to watch the baby? That makes no sense to me. Oh, they're not married. Well, okay. Well, boyfriend, girlfriend. Um, if he is recognized as the biological father and your daughter is the biological mother, then they have some type of arrangement there. Yeah, his parents. I know that his parents. Um, his parents are watching the child when he goes to the military. Okay, something that your daughter has done has now the CPS safety plan has the child with the grandparents, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing because that baby could be in foster care, which would be a bad thing. So I'm glad that he is with some relative. Now, why is the grandparents not allowing you to visit your baby? How can I help you out there? Um, and what did your daughter do that was so bad that they had to put it with the father's parents? Well, I understand the daughter's okay with placement, but why is the baby not with the mother? What did the mother do that CPS had to take the mother away from the child away from the mother? She had failure to thrive. What do you mean by thrive? Did she? Um, she had failure to thrive. I don't know what that means, Joe. I don't know what that means. We have Josie Lopez from San Fe Springs, California, which is in LA County, and they have a CPS case. The child was taken at 2 months. The child now is 10 months. And I guess it's been in CPS's hands, but it's with the father's family. He's in the military. Well, feeding was the issue. Okay, so the mother did not know how to feed the baby. Did she know about breastfeeding? Because usually the first 10 months, the baby only needs is to breastfeed. As her mother, you could teach her how to breastfeed, or could she not breastfeed the baby? Did she not have milk? Okay. Well, they could take a class on breastfeeding. The hospitals, there's a lot of classes on breastfeeding. Um, she tried combo breastfeeding and things there. She has erratic sleep. Okay. Well, the babies are up at all different times, so there isn't much sleep you have as a parent. I know from firsthand. I'm a married man of 42 years. I have 6 children, 3 olders and 3 youngers. And um, I uh, have experience of 42 years of marriage. And that was because my first wife was 10 years. My second wife is 32 years. So I don't like to bounce around. I just say 42 years of marriage. And then, okay, so they had a rag sleep. At first, they had the baby in foster care before her father was found. Oh, wow. Yeah, that foster care is the worst thing, but they're collecting money now because she was in foster care. I'm glad she's with the grandparents, but why is she being punished because she can't breastfeed? That makes no sense to me. Thank you, Jackson, for the nice heart. That was really great. And thank you, Ron, Emily, for the face, and also Jackson for the face. Okay. they're going to have the baby be adopted. Okay, that's a resort there. Um, she did everything social service asked her to do. Then why they? I mean, I can't believe they took the baby from her because she wasn't feeding the baby. Now, if the baby can't drink the mother's milk or the mother cannot express the milk, then the formula milk will work. She needs to work with her pediatrician in the hospital. She needs to work with a pediatrician. Now, how'd she lose her rights in 10 months? I mean, the baby is 10 months old. How did the mother lose her rights? Because you don't want to have her lose her rights because that is wrong. I mean, did your mother do something? Did your daughter do something else besides not feeding the child? Did she do something else? Was she on drugs or was she having other issues? Okay. No, okay. If you want to call in, uh, Josie, you can. She was lazy. Oh my goodness gracious. She was a lazy daughter. Wow. Depression. I don't know why. Sometimes a baby, I guess, will give depression. Also, if that was just a lover or somebody she met, it was casual sex, then maybe that's part of it too. I'm just thankful that the baby's in the right hands and not in foster care because we need to keep the baby in relatives' hands because in foster care, the baby will be hurt and you don't want them in foster care. Um, Josie or Joe, do you want to call at my number at 626-698-0990 and talk more? Okay, the baby's fine. That's good to hear that the baby's fine and healthy. You have zero rights. No, you don't have zero rights. I mean, if your daughter has been terminated her rights, the grandparents or the relatives should have rights to see the baby. All they have to do is ask permission of whoever has the guardianship of the baby. Apparently, the father's parents have guardianship of the baby, or was the baby put in guardianship of the father? Because you, as the grandparent of that child, should have rights. All you need to do is ask them. Okay, the baby is in the guardianship of the father. Are you and the father have? Are you able to talk with each other? Yeah, my number's on the screen. It's in big black background with white lettering. It says call in now 626-698-0990. If you're looking at the screen, it's on the left hand side, right in front at the bottom of the screen. 626-698-0990. Hello there.
Hi there. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Are you Josie?
Yes, I am.
Do you like to be called Joe or Josie?
Oh, just as long as it's not Jose.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having a hard time with that word, and so I apologize. But Josie,
No problem.
I understand the situation, and I'm here to really help you. So the father has the guardianship of the child?
The grandparents do. The grandfather and his wife.
Wow, that's an interesting. Okay.
Because their son the military.
Okay, well, he can still have rights to the daughter, and his grandparents can be taking care of him, but that is fine too. I'm glad that a family.
But nobody's working with me. My daughter has visitation set up, and even though she's told her lawyer, and the grandfather is pretty much agreeable, but the father of the child, who's in Germany, hates my guts. He hated my guts the whole time that my daughter and him were together.
Okay, did they start out as a boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yeah, they were each other's first. So
okay.
These kids are 23 and 22, respectfully.
Oh. Well,
yeah.
That's young to have children.
Special needs, and thank God the father is in the military. He needed it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. The father has a stable job. He has a roof over his head, and the child is with a family member, which is so much better than with a foster care, because foster care would harm the child.
Oh yeah, they had her picked out really quick as like an A1 baby while the baby was in the hospital, and because my daughter threw me under the bus because she was angry because I had a lot to do with the removal because of my daughter's lack of care.
Okay. So who contacted CPS?
She had a medical crisis in the middle of the night. That's how that happened. I have to close my office door. I'll be right back.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You said your daughter is a special needs child?
Well, yeah. She's pretty smart, but she doesn't have adulting 101 down yet. I'm trying to work with her on it. Our relationship has been restored.
Okay.
But they don't care now because she threw me under the bus so far and, told them that I was abusive to her whole life, emotionally, physically, and mentally.
Okay. Now, have you talked at all with CPS?
No, well, yes, I have.
Okay. How did it start?
I sound like the crazy grandma.
Right. I understand. They're going to try to do that because, see, the baby was once in foster care. So they're collecting money on that child. They're getting about $20,000 a month for that child from the state, who gets the money from the federal government. And that's a lot of money, you think about that, in the course of the year, you're getting up to a lot of money there. So the LA County.
Oh no, she's in. It's an Orange County case. And the baby is now living in Moreno Valley, so that's, I think, San Bernardino.
Right. What makes the difference? Let's say transfer. So it was in Orange County. That's the same county my case was in, and they are very bad. They are money making. In fact, they had 3 of my children that had to fight to get back, and they were getting $60,000 a month. And that's a lot of money. They're in the business to make money. It's $1 trillion business. So.
Oh, I believe it, sir, now that I've been through this. But now, even though I'm a licensed nurse and I work at the VA, they won't entertain the idea of me seeing my granddaughter.
Well,
I want to have visitation like my daughter does.
Yeah, and you should be able to. By you talking to me on the phone, you've qualified for a free 15-minute session with Vincent Davis, my lawyer, who you may have heard at the beginning of the show. He is a dependency family juvenile lawyer. And
yes, I've watched his videos.
Right, okay.
And I spoke to you guys right when this happened. But in the very beginning when it happened.
Do you speak to me or Vincent Davis?
I actually spoke to you.
Oh, okay. And what did I tell you at the time?
Well, that I needed to talk to Mr. Davis and I needed to gather up some funds. In all of this process, my husband, who is not my daughter's father,
Stepfather.
but he raised her for 5 years.
Okay.
And my husband, we gave my daughter a fighting chance. When she came home from the hospital, we weren't sure of who the father was. She did not disclose until June of this year who Dad was, because
Okay.
she really didn't know. And but we set her up with an apartment in Anaheim, the whole 9 yards, and then my daughter crashed and burned with that, and eventually my daughter was so depressed she wouldn't get up and work.
Okay.
And she kept the apartment unclean, so in July we let the apartment go, and now she lives in a sober living home, and she's doing okay.
Okay. So
she
is assisted living?
I'm sorry?
Is she in assisted living?
No, she's in a there's like 17 women in 4 bathrooms, but they all kind of do their thing. It's low income and affordable to her.
Okay.
And if we had to assist her, it's affordable enough. But she has participated from day one very successfully
Okay.
through the whole process, and still they've I don't know if they've terminated her rights or given her enhancement services, but all she gets is visitation right now.
Right. Hopefully they haven't terminated her rights, because if
she has court January 30th, and I think they plan to do that.
Well,
and there's no reason to. There's no behavioral issues with my daughter. I mean, I understand her not being able to reunite, but she needs a strong visitation. But what I'm concerned with is Grandma needs in this game. I need this granddaughter, to be part of my life.
Yeah, I can understand that. The problem with CPS, especially Orange County, because I know it firsthand, is they don't care about grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. They don't. My 3 kids were demoralized in foster care. They were taken when they weren't in danger. They were in school at the time. But this Orange County was so vicious that they were determined. And until I got Mr. Davis aboard as my attorney, I didn't seem to go anywhere. We had court-appointed attorneys, but they weren't working because they had like 30 cases and they didn't have time for our case. They're not fighters.
Yeah, my daughter has a court-appointed attorney who could give 2 diddly farts about what's happening with her.
Oh yeah, that's typical of a court-appointed attorney. Most people can't afford to retain an attorney. I had to sell my home to retain my attorney. And the loss of your home after working 45 years is a big thing to lose.
Sure.
I had unfortunately had lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010. And then for 5 years, I was harassed by CPS because my wife's parents and family were calling in every week saying we weren't doing things with our children, and which were false lies. And so finally they used the police. They hired a detective who found me and followed me and then ordered me home. And I did not know the laws at that time. I let them into my home. I had previously let them in my home in those 5 years. There was no problem. But unfortunately, this time my parents had passed away and had taken their belongings and stacked them in the living room. And they didn't like the idea with stacked furniture or boxes in the living room. So they charged me with neglect to the children, my wife. And it was really, really, really sad. A very vicious, very corrupt place. They tacked on sexual charges to me and my wife too, and they were unfounded, nothing there. That was, I later found out, was a bargaining chip. And so I had two cases going against us. We had a case in criminal law that said that we're neglecting our children and sexually our children. They wouldn't spell out what it was. That was just a ruse or a front as a bargaining chip. And so for a year, we kept meeting and they kept postponing, meeting and postponing. And then they offered a deal where they said, we can drop all the charges against your wife, your sex charges and neglect charges, and we'll drop your sex charges, but you have to settle for neglect. And it was a mistake that I regret that I made because I was thinking of my family first and not of me. And so as soon as that was done, then CPS eventually gave back our children because they did nothing while the criminal charges were happening. So with the criminal charges happening, that takes precedence over CPS's charges.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, because my husband is not a blood relative, and we set her up so well and ended up blowing up in our face. My husband has kind of taken himself out of this process.
Oh boy.
And yeah, well, but he loves me, and I'm allowed to be grandma all I can.
Right.
But as far as any money to get an attorney, he won't allow me to.
Yeah, I can see that.
Even though I have a good job, but my daughter was so thankless to allow this to happen and throw us under the bus to where we would have been the custodial guardian.
Right. I mean, you could have there.
My daughter had cooperated.
Right. Well, you say your daughter, when they threw her in the bus, I mean, how did it really start? Did you call CPS yourself? Is that what started it?
I had originally called. The baby had gone to ER twice, taken in by me.
Okay.
And the two times that we went over, we were in LA County at the time.
Okay.
The baby was born there, so we went to that hospital.
All right.
And the doctor just patted my daughter on the shoulder, going, "Great job, keep it up." And I was trying, and I talked to the same physician twice, who ignored what I was telling them, which was the baby wasn't getting enough food and often enough. I didn't live with her. She was unmonitored, and the baby needed help. I needed them to step in. And
well, maybe you could have asked another doctor. If that one doctor, maybe it takes another doctor to diagnostic the baby because.
Well, by the time that happened, the baby had a medical crisis. My daughter called the ambulance. Therefore, she ended up at CHOC, and mandated reporting, and the hospital reported her. And at the time, they had that baby set up as an A1 baby girl.
Yeah, they will do that. You're right, because they'll intervene there. It's sort of it sort of was a chain reaction.
It's part of a racket.
Yeah, it is kind of sad there. Now that your daughter and you have patched things up, maybe would your daughter agree to? Well, of course they're trying to ignore your daughter now too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're trying to cut her out completely, and in end of January, I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah, well, you definitely have to intervene there. Now, I'm not saying that the 15 minutes I can give you to talk to Vincent Davis will correct everything, but maybe your 15 minutes with him, it won't cost you a dime because you've called in. And one of the things about calling in is that all I need is your full name, your email, and your phone number. Text to me at this number that you're talking to, and then I'll set you up with a 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. and you can sit there and say, what happens if I get an attorney that's schooled in dependency law, family juvenile dependency law? Can they help a grandmother get visitation rights to her daughter? You gotta, it's kind of a culmination of things. As long as your daughter uses a court appointed attorney, she's going to get nowhere,
Right.
because that court appointed attorney doesn't have the background in dependency law. Their background is criminal law. They're a brand new attorney and they have a caseload of 30 more clients. So they don't have
Well,
time.
and this guy is Mr. Cynical. He looked at me and my husband when we went to the first court hearing, and we
Yes.
tried to speak to him, and he said, "This isn't about you, it's about her. Do not talk to me." And I'm like, whoa.
That's typical.
Considering the fact that I've been caretaking my daughter my whole life, and we're just trying to launch her into adulthood, and she ends up with the baby.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think Vincent Davis would be able to help you. All you have to do is text me your full name, and your email and your phone number, and then I will forward that on to my show producer, who arranged a time with you and Mr. Davis for a 15 minutes consultation. Now, if you want to talk,
I saw the flyer too about telling your story, and I signed up on that form as well.
Good. Also, if you want to speak for a full 30 minutes, he'll talk to you for $60 for 30 minutes. All you have to do is go to the website that's at the bottom of my screen that's scrolling. You just go to the website and reserve a time with Mr. Davis, pay with your credit card for $60, and you can talk to him for 30 minutes. And, it'd be well worth the call, because you will have nothing to lose. You'll learn so much that what he can do as a lawyer. Of course, you're in Southern California, he's in Southern California, so it makes it real easy to maybe hire him to help you get there. See, the thing is, I don't know, does your daughter want you to have visitation rights with her daughter?
Oh yeah, yes. Now, like I said, we put things back together.
Okay.
And she understands what's going on.
Okay. Well, maybe he could suggest something that, as a lawyer, that would help you and help you with your daughter, and get your daughter back.
Yeah, the thing is, I have no chance in the world if they terminate her rights.
Yeah, I understand.
And because the father can't stand me, when they dated for 15 months and never liked me in the first place because he mistreated my daughter. And as long as he's not cooperative, even the grandpa, who's so nice, his father is so nice.
Well, the thing is, you said that
you
say the grandparents, his stepdad, is that his biological mother, the military guy?
No, it's biological father and stepmom.
Okay. Well, that is something that you can do, to bring. Maybe you're talking to the grandfather. You can work this thing out.
Well, I've been trying, but they present it to their son, who's in Germany, and he says, blank that woman,
Yeah. Well,
they would eventually not to have my daughter around too. The father would not. I know he's going to come back stateside probably married and wanting my daughter to have her rights terminated.
Right. Well,
beautiful child, and I love her, even though I haven't seen her but a couple of times in this past few months. You know, my heart is still there, so I can't understand why the judge would deny me that if my daughter was on board.
Well, you got a lot of things working against you. You got the father of the child that doesn't like you.
Yep.
And then you got your daughter back, which is good. But then the grandfather of the his dad is the military's father is the grandfather, right?
Yes, the baby's grandfather. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and he's behind you. He's behind you, so that's a good sign. He needs to talk to his son to work out. It's important that relatives are all part of a child growing up. I hate this when families hate each other. I have a similar problem.
Yeah, he's not responsive to me because the son has already, axed it. He's already told his father.
CPS ruins a lot of things. CPS has ruined the relationship my wife has with her parents and her brothers and her sisters. And we also have older children that are her oldest son and oldest daughter. Right now don't want to talk to us, don't want to be a part of our family. We don't know if it's something with the child protection system did something or said something. We know that her mother and father have hated us so much that they wanted to steal our three younger children that she and I had together. So I know where we're coming from. And it's sad because right now we're talking about Thanksgiving. And at Thanksgiving, my boys are bouncing. Well, should I be at Thanksgiving with my dad and mom, or should I be with my sister, her stepsister? And so they've been invited for Thanksgiving in there. And so they're going to try to do both. But I hate this thing when you get family members that don't, for whatever reason, because I have a sister. My other sister passed away, sadly, but my other sister is still living. But she and I have not talked since this case started in 2015. It's been 9 years since she's talked to me. And, I have my own sister who is my little sister. Well, I call her my little sister because she's 5 years younger than me. But she probably is almost 70. I'm 70. What am I? 75. I just turned 75 on the 16th. So I know how hard it is when family members are not getting along, or especially at times of holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, and the baby's first birthday is January 8th.
I know, and we want to make something special. It'd be nice to have the grandparents and the father and the mother and both sets of grandparents celebrating the baby's first birthday. And it's important that children grow up to know their grandparents and know their mother and father. And I think what had happened is that these two, were seeing each other. Maybe they're just lovers, maybe not necessarily girlfriend, boyfriend. They had a baby. And maybe they didn't know what they're doing, or maybe they did know what they're doing. But, when you are intimate with each other and you have a baby, it's a big responsibility. A lot of men like to shine it off and disappear. They want nothing to do with the child, which is sad because then the mother.
It's all about power and control, and he wants to be in charge, and he is tickled to death that his father and stepmom have the baby while he's in the military.
Yeah. Well, maybe he has alternative motives, but
I'm sure he's going to be a lot more attractive with the beautiful baby girl than him by himself. He's not an attractive young man.
Okay. Well, that is hard too, but also being a single man with a child is hard to date. I mean, he'll have to have a babysitter when he goes out to date, and I don't think
grandma and step Grandpa and Grandma are right there,
Right, yeah. Well, they'll be right there, but still, there's going to be times he may want to be intimate with the girl he's dating, or maybe they want to go off someplace for a 3 or 4 day trip. So it is hard. I mean, and again, it's not the looks that are important, it's what's inside a person that counts. It is what's
Well, sure,
inside.
but his chances are pretty slim. My daughter, her standards weren't very high, but it was her first boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. All right.
and they have bad blood. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
how in the world am I going to be able to, get in there with court? I want to be a grandma.
Well, that's the question you're going to ask Mr. Davis. You're going to say, Mr. Davis, I have a daughter that has a daughter with a man she's not married who's in the military that wants me not a part of their lives. How do I be a grandmother to that baby? How do I approach it? And he will tell you. He will tell you. And you can talk about his retainer, and he might be able to help you. I strongly feel because you're close, you're not in another state. When it gets in another state, it gets very expensive. So that makes it nice there. So,
but my husband, because of all we did, and my daughter blew it, he's not interested in me spending 5 cents, much less $5, much less $500, much less $5,000.
Well, that is
not
sad.
Interested because he had to protect himself because with my daughter losing custody and she not allowing us to be the custodial guardians, he's had to just withdraw and retreat and go through his own grief process, and he just acts like little Jackie doesn't exist anymore because to him, she doesn't.
Yeah.
But it breaks my heart because I know she exists, and in the little videos with her visitation with her mom, my daughter, little Jackie knows me, and I've gotten to see her just like 2 times, but she knows Grammy on the phone,
Yeah.
And I want that relationship, so I don't know if I'd have to, mow Mr. Davis's yard or wash his car or.
Well, that's something that I think Mr. Davis will be able to help you out with. I don't think it's going to be a thing here. Excuse me 1 second. I have a person that came in the room named Ardenit.
Yes, sir.
Ardenit. Welcome, Ardenit. Some people don't know how lucky they are to have parents who want to be grandparents. Very kind words said, Ardenit. Could you tell me the city and state, or if you're from a country where you're from, Ardenit? But welcome to the room. And those are very kind words to say. See, people are listening here, Josie. They care about you.
I'm brokenhearted.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. I know you are. And I'm glad.
I can't post her on Facebook or Instagram because everybody says, well, where is she? And I'm like, I don't have the answers. I can't go through the grief every time I tell them, well, I don't have any visitation rights at all.
Yeah, I understand. This Ardenit is from Niagara Falls in Canada. This is one of my countries come in there.
Place.
So he's listening from Niagara Falls, Canada. And I thank you there, Ardenit, for the kind words you said to this grandma who misses her granddaughter. And I'm glad she's got your daughter patched up. But I think by talking about it, you're welcome to come to my show twice a day, 7 days a week. That's a lot of times. That's 14 shows. But, you're welcome to call or text or whatever. And I love to have you. And again,
I appreciate that, Bob. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because sometimes talking about things helps work out the grieving process. We all grieve.
Well, that's what it is. It is a loss.
It is a loss.
Something I had that was ripped away from me.
Yes. And I know that. And I can't give you the right answer. All I know is by talking about it, by understanding it and maybe seeking the advice of others. Talking to Mr. Davis, he's a kind man. He will talk to you. And as I say, I have several ways you can go with him. One, you're qualified now to talk to him for free for 15 minutes. All I need is your full name, your email, and your phone number. Or you can talk to him for 30 minutes by paying $60 with your credit card and reserving a time with him at that website. Or you can call in right now at 888-888-6582 and say you want to schedule a time with Mr. Davis with talk about retaining him as your lawyer. And so you can do that. You have lots of ways to talk to Mr. Davis. He will listen to you. One of the things that's plus about this is that you're close to his office and he doesn't have to worry about hotel or airfare or ground transportation to go wherever you are. Like say you're in Maine. Right now he has a case in Oklahoma and there's added expense to go to Oklahoma. You're going to have to fly there. You got to have ground transportation and then you got to have a place to sleep and food to eat. So, he can't set up a kitchen and buy groceries. That's why it's additional cost for the per diem that he encounters there. So I think it's going to be a good thing that you do talk to Mr. Davis because he knows the law. He knows the dependency law. And you need to tell him, that you're back. You and your daughter have patched things up. Your daughter has special needs, that your husband right now is very upset that you've tried so hard to have your daughter with a place and everything, and she blew it. She blew it by not feeding the child. And of course, you have a corrupt agency that's got their claws in. Once they get the claws in.
They had the clause, and then once they found out that there was an actual real father, they were pissed because they were on one track with her and then they had to go another way.
Right, because here's the thing is, if they're on tractor with foster care, the child for 17 years and 2 months would make that agency a lot of money at $60,000 a month. Think about that. 17.
Yep.
Think about 60,000 times 12 times 17 years. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's what they were hoping on with the foster care.
They had to switch directions with her.
Yes.
And when they did that, they had no intention, even though they put her through all of the classes and all of the requirements, they had no plans of reunification at the end of it.
Right.
But she did everything they asked her to do, and she's been so good. And now they're just barely thinking of enhancement. And if they terminate her rights in January...
Well, you got to stop that. Now, one thing, if they do go ahead and terminate rights, she's got to appeal that case within 15 days. She's got to do an appeal. You do not want to accept that her rights have been terminated. She's got to do an appeal. And it's very important. And so that's why I think it's important you talk to Vincent Davis. Because maybe, he can help you by maybe being your daughter's attorney or being your attorney and he getting another lawyer to be your daughter's attorney. But I think it's important that grandparents have a right, because my wife and I are grandparents to our children who have children. And right now we can't see those young children. We can't watch them grow up. We as grandparents are being denied. Our oldest son, has 2 babies that we've not seen. And our oldest daughter has 2 babies we've not seen. And so that is really kind of tough because, a good time is Thanksgiving. Invite everybody. A Thanksgiving time is a time to be thankful. That's why we had Thanksgiving. It's a time to sit around with family, and also the friends. There's a lot of friends that don't have families. And sometimes
love and forgiveness.
yeah, sometimes these, your family members have boyfriends or girlfriends and they join in because, Thanksgiving is a time to be thankful for the food you have on your table, be thankful for all the things that we, don't have in life that we should have and stuff. So I think it's important that grandparents get the right to see their grandchildren and great grandchildren and great great grandchildren grow up. It's really,
It's good for the children.
yeah. Oh, I know it is. I know it is. I mean, um, I remember my grandmothers. They're very loving, very caring. My wife remembers her grandmothers, very loving and very caring, and grandfathers too. It's just in the old days, grandfathers didn't outlive the grandmothers very long. My grandfather died when I was about 6 years old. It was sad because I remember him as a kind man. They had birds in his yard, like he had a bird cage of parakeets, I think it was, and he would talk to me about his garden, his snow peas, and so forth. And I remember him. I was only 6, but it was sad that when he passed away, it was really hard to understand. And so,
Oh, I bet.
My grandmother lived.
I was 7 with my papa.
Oh, okay. All right. So you know the feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
my grandmothers both lived into their 90s. My mom lived into the 90s. My dad almost made it there. So my parents have a long way of life. I think I'll have a long way of life. And my wife's mother is in the 90s. So we have longevity there. But we have grandchildren that we've not met or seen. And it's all because of CPS. I know it is. I know it is all because of CPS. The Child Protection Agency is supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse, but instead they abuse and traffic our children into foster care. They don't believe in family reunification, especially Orange County doesn't. There's no such thing as reunification with Orange County. They like to break the family apart. They go from a shelter, a foster care shelter, to a foster care group home, to a single foster care home. And our kids were moved around, and they were very good students. They're very good socially. They were something that anybody would be proud to have. And they still are very good looking, very healthy today. But sadly, they've been convinced that think we're the most awful parents, which is wrong. Everybody is going to have problems. Everybody's going to have different ideas about things, and it's hard when you have people like that. That I mean, I am on this show because I care. It isn't because I um, want to do it for any other reason, but to be here to help you all. To help you all.
Well, I appreciate it so much. I have to get back to work, but
okay.
Thank you so much, and I will text my info to your number there.
All right,
and
talk to Mr. Davis.
See if I can scratch up $60 for a half an hour.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do 15 minutes and then pay him for $60 for. I'll give you 45 minutes. That's a good start. Well, thank you so much,
thank you,
Josie.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you, and you take care. All right. And you go ahead and sign off.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. It looks like my show's almost over. I have right now time. It's now it's almost it's 10:59. So I'm going to end my podcast. I want to thank Arden from Niagara Falls, Canada, for sharing some beautiful thoughts there. He says one thing: I would definitely talk to a lawyer if I was her. She's going to talk to a lawyer. She's got a free time to do it. Thank you, Ardian, for being there. And again, thank you, Josie, for being on my show. Josie's from Southern California. And so she's from Santa Fe Springs is where I guess she's working and so forth. So that was a moving story, you all. I want to thank you all for listening. I'm going to end my podcast. It's going to end with a little blurb from Vincent Davis. God bless you all, and please keep fighting for your children. This is Bob Pace signing.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.